What's up, Pokemon trainers? It's your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys the next leg of our Pokemon GenLocke challenge, our Generation Lock challenge, a variant of the Nuzlocke challenge. Most of you are, of course, definitely, absolutely familiar with what a Nuzlocke is, but what is a GenLocke? Well, if you didn't catch the first leg of our run, it's already uploaded on the channel, but we already Nuzlocked Pokemon Red version, and we're starting the second leg of our GenLocke picking Gold version. Why? Well, we already did Silver on the channel. Now, what does this all mean? If you guys aren't familiar, I urge you to definitely go check out the first part of this Generation Lock playlist, because I go into depth and I spend a little more time explaining it. Suffice it to say, the description's over here. A Generation Lock is simply doing multiple runs of Nuzlocke challenges in generational order. However, it's one overarching challenge. So if you lose one leg of the run, the whole run's over and you didn't win. Even if you beat 3 games in a row, if you decided to do up till Generation 5, you still lost the whole GenLocke challenge, right? So depending on how far you're willing to go with your Generation Lock, you know, it's one big overarching challenge, if you will. Now, as I said, we already beat our first leg of the run, our red version of the run, and our Hall of Fame team, our champions, which all 6 survived. So awesome. We're going to start with all 6 at level 5 once again. Now we'll get into the second detail about that, just to refresh everybody's memory before we get started with the gold run. Now, once again, I urge everyone to watch the first video in this series of videos or playlist, because I go into depth about this stuff a little bit. Suffice to say, the description is still over here, and we'll just run through it really quick. But in a GenLocke challenge, your Hall of Fame team, any survivors from your Hall of Fame team, if you successfully do one game, one generation, which we did, we beat Pokemon Red with our Nuzlocke rules in place, and any survivors from the Hall of Fame team, the moment you beat the champion, they end up coming over as level 5 starting in your next run of the game. In this case, we went from red to gold version. So, for example, our Charmander, our Pikachu, our Rhyhorn, they are all coming over as level 5 versions of themselves with the same nicknames, etc., etc. There is, not only just in the heart and spirit of what a Nuzlocke is, of course, nicknaming, love and care, power of friendship, anime bonus, but an actual bonus, not just the power of friendship, but a real bonus is at the start of each leg of the run. A trainer gains 1 point to spend on one Pokemon by winning each run per game. So, for example, if you once you defeat the champion and the Elite Four, if you successfully Nuzlocke one game, you get 1 point to spend on one Pokemon of your choosing, one surviving Pokemon of your choosing. However, there is an allowance of two extra bonus points for a total of 3 possible on each leg of the run, if you win the Elite Four run from start to finish, and from all 4 Elite members into the champion, and you don't lose a single Pokemon. You go into the Elite Four starting with 6, and you survive to the Hall of Fame with 6, you get 2 more points to be spent on what have you, egg moves, IV stats, shininess, anything you like, sort of idea, within reason, of course, within reason, nothing game breaking, but yeah, so that's the long and short of it. Now, suffice it to say, I had all 3 points awarded to me. As you guys checked out the last video, I had a party of 6 going into the run, and well, all 6 survived. So we get 3 points to spend. So before we get into the actual start of the gold run, why don't we check out what I actually spent these 3 points on. So as I already said, we were awarded 3 points by completing the red run of the game with an Elite Four sweep. Completing the champion, all 6 Pokemon surviving, and of course we completed the run. So 3 points to be awarded, and as you can tell right here, somewhere here are the awarded points. Now, the first choice, you're already looking at me and you're going, that is vain and stupid. And you're right. But it was a choice, vain and stupid. Dallas Nido Boys need their mascot. We got a Nidoran, needs to be shiny, our blue Nido King for our representation. Let's go. Our second choice, of course, that was just honest mistake. I don't know what I was thinking. I was going through all the different options for Charmander and Pikachu and Psyduck and just going through and thinking, okay, who benefits the most? And I'm thinking about type advantage. I'm thinking all these things. Somehow in my all the mathematics going on and all the calculations going on, where's that meme where it's all the thinking equations? I somehow forgot the obvious, and I gave Crunch to Rhyhorn. Ideally great if Rhyhorn makes it to Gen 4. This Rhyhorn's going to be unstoppable early game. But yeah, Crunch is going to end up being probably quite useless as we go through this gold run, because once again, it's a special move. It might be a dark type move, but it's a special move, and Rhyhorn's special stat sucks. And I'm going full physical with Rhyhorn, of course, so yeah, it was a really stupid decision to make. And by the time I realized it, by the time I even considered and realized it, I don't know how far I got, but I know I was far enough into the game to say, not resetting the Nuzlocke now. So yeah, so either way, we ended up with Crunch on Rhyhorn. So realistically, it is the 3 possible points to be spent. We only spent 1 in a smart way. We gave Psyduck Psychic right out of the gate. We gave him Psychic. So boom, baby. I believe so. So Shininess was 1 point spent, and these are both egg moves, I believe. Once again, even though you can hack the game and stuff like that, I am only giving, I believe, Move Tutor moves and egg moves as rewards. I'm not allowed to, for example, I can't give a Dratini Hyper Beam if it can't, you know, come out of an egg with Hyper Beam sort of idea, right? So I'm not allowed to give it like its level 60 moves, Fire Blast, TM moves, anything like that. Move Tutor moves and egg moves and stuff like that are all fine dandy for rewards going forward. But yeah, so one vain choice, which I do not regret at all. Need our blue Nidoking. The Crunch was just a, you know, not thinking clearly when I was making the decision, and Psychic was realistically our only great choice here. So, but with that all being said, those are our points going forward. And once again, the whole team survived, so we're starting with the same Hall of Fame team, all at level 5. Let's just jump right into the first part of our gold GenLocke run. Let's get underway. So without further ado, let's just get right underway with it. Game Freak presents our wonderful gold version, gold leg, so our second run. Now once again, the reason we chose red version for the first run, I actually considered playing the original Japanese green version just because I never have. So I thought that'd be kind of fun, but I have done a successful yellow Nuzlocke and a blue Nuzlocke on the channel, along with a silver Nuzlocke. So it was definitely easy pickings to choose red version. So now we've basically completed the original trifecta for the first gen, and then we've already done silver, so doing gold was the obvious next choice. Sort of considered doing crystal for a while. In fact, the thumbnail, originally I had the Suicune image instead of the Ho-Oh version for doing crystal, but then I realized I already had gold version downloaded. It would just clear that up, that kind of idea. Not really, you know, so certain choices might change, like some of the thumbnails might change depending on as I go through everything, but right now obviously we're setting the battle style to set, text speed to fast, all that fun jazz before we start the new game. Now the other thing is, right out of the gate, is we decided earlier on to try to do our very best. As much as I love a lot of the Johto Pokemon and the additions that we're going to get, I'm going to keep, for the most part, with our team unless we lose a Pokemon. Unless we lose a Pokemon, I'm sticking with the original team that won us our Hall of Fame, our original champion. So, of course, we have Charmander, Pikachu, Mankey, Psyduck, Rhyhorn, and you know who. So, our beautiful Nidoran male. So, once again, we're going to name ourselves Griever, all that stuff. But yeah, this team is going to be our... I have a feeling we're still going to be keeping a majority of this team through this run. I've played the Johto games a lot. I've Nuzlocked them quite often. So I've got a really good feeling. In fact, I think even though it's a bit of a longer game, I feel like my best track record is with Gen 2 games for Nuzlocking. So outside of some bad critical hits and stuff like that, I feel like we're going to be doing pretty stellar. Especially starting off with this team. With a, it's already a great team. We already know that. It's already a great team. Because it just won us the Hall of Fame, right? Now, there is one tiny little issue with Pichu. We have a Pichu to start because, of course, Pichu is included in the Johto Dex. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing about that later on. Once again, I've sort of switched around a couple of the rules regarding stones and evolution things as we go through different generations, because limiting myself, because I have great Hall of Famers and I use points on them and stuff like that. For example, let's say there's a game, let's say Gen 4, you can't get a Moonstone until post-game. That doesn't mean if we have a Nidoran at that point that I'm not having a Nidoking, right? So I believe, I'm not sure if I put in the rules yet, but I believe anything that's basically just not just ridiculous to obtain, or something that's just not really practical as far as a Nuzlocke goes. And once again, our trainer ID allowed us for our grass starters, so we get a Chikorita to pick. We can have a whole team of starters actually if everybody survives, so that's kind of cool. In fact, we didn't get a Cyndaquil or Totodile, but we did get a Chikorita. Not that we'll be utilizing it, but you never know. You never know. That's the key thing. Chikorita I believe I usually call Chikorita, especially a male Chikorita, I call him Littlefoot. So our Littlefoot here is definitely going to be really, really good. If a lot of people don't like Chikorita, they don't care for Chikorita. I always like Chikorita, Bayleaf, all that stuff. So definitely having a 7th option right out of the gate, starting in the box. Some people play a GenLocke where all previously caught Pokemon are included as well. So that's a thing. But yeah, so as you guys can tell, we already have our Ancalagon, our Charmander from the previous one back to level 5. We have our Nidoboy, our shiny Nidoboy. We have Wild Wing, Heracles, Apollo, Copper. Everyone's all good. Wild Wing, of course, has his Psychic starting off really, really strong with that. Heracles, once again, bad choice here. Got Crunch. I could have had Magnitude. I could have had Rock Slide. I had some options, and I made a really bad call there. Really bad call. You don't understand how useful Magnitude was going to be. So yeah, then we're already into our first rival battle here, of course. Because once again, these are the highlights. The video's probably still going to be an hour, but these are the highlights of our first run through. But yeah, going back to that rule set, I believe I chose level 36 because that's usually the standard for starters for our 3rd tier. So level 36, if it's not possible to, or it's not practical to get a Water Stone, a Trade Evolution, anything like that, level 36 is my standard now. At level 36, I've been able to hack the game or ROM, change the ROM around to get all these Pokemon and stuff for our Generation Lock. We're going to be just using level 36 as our base for things like that. If it's just not practical to not be able to get, certain stones and stuff until the Elite Four or after the Elite Four and stuff like that. But yeah, we easily get rid of our rival there. We destroy Cyndaquil, pretty straightforward. Once again, as I was saying, we get a catch here. Some people play a Generation Lock where they keep all their surviving box Pokemon as well, and they get to transfer over their box Pokemon. And I've even seen people say, okay, even if they lose their, because if they play with this point system, if they lose, let's say a couple of Pokemon to the Elite Four, blah, 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 out of the 3 or 4 that survive, they can spend their point, but they still can choose enough to start the next leg of the run with a party of 6. They don't keep the whole box, but they keep a party of 6 and they choose their best or their own choices from their surviving box, even if they lose some guys to the Elite Four or the Champion or whatever like that. Once again, these are variations that I'm not playing. I'm playing with, no, I'm not taking anybody from the box. Only the Hall of Famers that survive get transferred over each leg. So we catch ourselves a Bellsprout with our Copper here. Unfortunately, as I learned through this, realistically, baby Pokemon are just the worst. They are really, really bad, even in early gen. Pichu definitely has a bit of an issue there. So we call this male Bellsprout James. I mean, for obvious reasons. For obvious reasons, we call him James. We run into a Geodude here, a male Geodude. We have our Heracles out. Might as well do something here about that. But so yeah, we end up once again, because you never know what's going to happen. So we're of course still playing this as a Nuzlocke. We're catching everything we can, just because we start off with some really strong Pokemon. Having a level 5 Rhyhorn to start off with is definitely good for early game, high defense, that kind of deal. And I feel like we're going to have an easy time for the first couple of gyms with all this versatility. You know, we have our fire type, our water type, though we have no water type moves yet, but we have Psychic, we have a high physical defense guy, a tank here, and Heracles. You know, we're doing pretty well, even though, once again, Copper, baby Pokemon stats just are not good. Like, you think it's like, okay, they're only a stage below, they're not going to be that bad. No. Baby Pokemon are really, really terrible. So I did play this version with the baby where he was introduced, and I think that that's going to be a slight alteration I'm going to play. Since Pichu was introduced in Generation 2, I played a Pichu in Generation 2, but from here on out, I'm going to be starting with a level 5 Pikachu. If, once again, hope that Copper survives, I'm going to be playing with that rule. So, for example, if I have a Snorlax by Gen 4 or something like that, I'm going to have to, because I believe Munchlax was introduced in Gen 4, I'm going to have to play Gen 4 starting off with the Munchlax, because that's when the baby was introduced. I think that's a fair deal, as long as you play one version of it, sort of idea at some point, because it was introduced, or maybe something like that, you know. I called Geodude Darunia, after, of course, Zelda reference there. We run ourselves into a Ghastly. This must be Sprout Tower with Wow Wing here. I know a Psychic is just going to absolutely destroy this guy. And as you can see, our levels are going just fine because we can just alternate between the levels for the wild Pokemon, stuff like that. So we're doing quite well here. And we get to share all the experience and stuff like that between the trainers. A quick lick here. Once again, it is good in a way that these stats are so low because we can do things like that. Which, once again, you know, half health there. I think this is where do I go for something? Oh, I go for paralysis. And then I believe and so does the Ghastly. The Ghastly goes for a Hypnosis with Sleep. We just go straight for the Pokeball because there's not really much more damage Ghastly can do while paralyzed. Do we make the catch? No, we don't make the catch in the first one. Another Hypnosis. We are trying to get a guess. And once again, a Gengar is definitely a very strong Pokemon and only gets better as the generations go on. A lot of these Pokemon suffer from either bad stats, no abilities yet, bad move pools or early bad move pools, things like that. Not great access to TMs or move tutors or what have you. As we go on, having these Pokemon early is definitely going to give some greatness. So we go for another Zelda reference with Midna, which is surprising. Normally I name my Ghastlies Agatha for obvious reasons. But yeah, so here we go again. We're in our first gym battle, Faulkner's Gym, and I'm thinking this is going to be a cinch. We have a Rhyhorn, a level like 9 or 10 Rhyhorn, you know, and we have Copper here at level 8. The problem is, he's not faster than the birds, and his Thunder Shock is a 2-hit on same level Pokemon. And he's taking a lot of damage. He doesn't have a whole lot of HP. He's already down to 12. A strong critical hit, might spell disaster. So that's only the first trainer, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, I went into this one kind of cocky here, thinking I have an electric type, treating it like he's a Pikachu. He's not a Pikachu, he's a Pichu, and people sleep on Pikachu. Pikachu wouldn't have had a problem there. First off, he probably would have had over 30 HP by that point, and his attack stat probably would have almost guaranteed one-shot that Spearow. Unless his special attack stat would be bad. Here, he would definitely do it. So we go for the Thundershock. We do outspeed the Pidgey, thankfully. Level 7 Pidgey. But, once again, not a one-shot. Even with the paralysis, it's like, yeah, okay. But he gets the move off anyway. So now we took a tackle. It's not even a crit. We take a chance here for the speed. We get it, but now, unless I want to use a potion, we don't even get a level. Our electric type doesn't get a level in this gym. That is so sad. Faulkner should have been a cakewalk of a gym. Look at these levels. Look at our team. We should have been fine. We're not fine. We are not cooking. We're burning in this kitchen right now. So we show up with our shiny Neato boy, our mascot, to say, okay, you can take a hit. You can do some damage. Let's go. Tackle attack. Okay, it's doing alright, but he can't really tackle for much more than I can. So then we go for the Horn Attack to do some serious damage. Which, yeah, one more Horn Attack gonna take him out. But once again, oh, and we take a critical hit. So now, our Neato boy isn't really a viable switch in or start up against Faulkner. We're already down 2 without using items or potions. And once again, check our item clause list, guys. We can't use the PokeMart. So this is very bad for us. Right out of the gate, 2 Pokemon already down. And we certainly can't switch out into Apollo, our Mankey, because, well, for obvious reasons. Because now Gust is actually a flying type move. Great for our flyers, bad for me right now. You know, otherwise I would have sent, I can easily send Apollo into this. I can't. Gust has become a flying type move. So, sends out his Pidgey. His Pidgey's level 7, but it's still the gym trainer, or it's the gym leader Faulkner. So, I say, okay, Rhyhorn, no problem. Mud Slap. Forgot about that. Yes, this is super effective. That's not really the big deal. It's only doing 5 damage. The problem is that accuracy drop. And it works the first time. He gets a crit. It works a second time. So, that accuracy drop is already killing us right now. 3 misses in a row. Our accuracy has dropped way too low. We do recover with the berry, thankfully, so it did its job, but now our accuracy is so damn low. We're already at half health pretty much. Finally get 1 Horn Attack off, and of course it's going to take at least 3 to kill this one Pidgey. I'm just sitting here going, this was supposed to be the easy gym. For us, we have a Rhyhorn and an electric type. We should have dog walked this damn team. And instead I'm sitting here going, I am actually struggling against Faulkner now in this Nuzlocke. I have never had so much trouble with Faulkner in my life. And where did I go wrong here? Where did I go wrong? And at this point, this is where I think I started to regret the whole idea of importing a Pichu instead of a Pikachu. If we survive all the way, I ain't doing that again, because that's the whole reason this is as much of a struggle as it is. We do end up with that lovely 9100 Psychic. We end up killing that Pidgey. Now that Gust, that hurt. We do miss our Psychic on Pidgeotto. That's damn huge. We get the Berry recovery though, so we can definitely survive another Gust. We can survive actually on second one even. I'm not that worried about critical hits, but now I'm definitely worried about taking a hit. We finally do get 1 Psychic off though, and it definitely does a fair chunk of damage, but now we gotta switch out. Again, we only have 1 viable switch out at this point, because Apollo, unless he goes for a Mud Slap, and once again, knowing my luck, the accuracy fall, he did go for the Gust. That would probably kill Apollo in 1 hit. And Caligon is my only bet here. I go for an Ember. It does fair damage. Fair damn damage right there. The Gust, already taking us down to half. I'm thinking a crit is all that I need to lose this thing. And thankfully, I have never struggled. I have never seen such a terrible showing against Faulkner in my life. I deserved the crits. I deserve to lose someone for this piss poor showing here. My God, I can blame the Pichu pre-evolution, the baby, all I want, but the fact of the matter is, I overestimated my levels, my stats, and my abilities going into the first gym. I really did. I thought, I've got the diversity, this is a powerhouse team. I had just come off this team sweeping the Elite Four in a Nuzlocke. I was thinking happy. Either way, thankfully we didn't lose anybody. We're up here, we're going past Violet City. Now we find ourselves a Woopa. And Oompty-Dump. And Oompa Loompa of the Pokemon. And who do we switch into here? We switch from Heracles, just in case of a water gun, into Apollo. Finally, you guys get to see a little showcase of Apollo. Goes for the tail whip, but, you know, once again, we have no real moves here, so switching into him anyways would have been a terrible idea against, even if Gust hadn't been a flying type move, still would have done a lot of damage, considering 5 from an 8 right there, you know what I'm saying? We use one of our Pokeballs, now we're down to 10. Do we catch the Wooper with 1, I think? No, we don't. So it goes for the tail whip, he misses. And in comes another Pokeball attempt. Which I believe we get. Yeah, we get. We get the Pokeball attempt. Excellent. So there we go. And that's the Waterfish Pokemon. And boom. We nickname him. What do we nickname him? Burger King? Yeah. We always, because Wooper, the Whopper. Yeah, it always looked so. Burger, yeah. One time we called him the B King. BK. But this time we just spell out Burger King with no space. So that's our Burger King. Now we made it to Union Cave. And our first encounter is a Zubat. So we've got our Geodude. And now we're going to get ourselves a Zubat. Meaning that caves after this will be a little more viable for chance encounters. Like Dunsparce. Who doesn't want a Dunsparce on their team, I ask you? Of course, we get hit by Confusion in our first little run here. A Leech Life from the Zubat. And, there we go. We're confused again. And we hurt ourselves again in Confusion. We are just having no damn luck. I'm glad. I don't know how people do the item clause and no Poke Center. Or some people do no Poke Center. Some people do only allowed to use Poke Center like once. Sort of like a one route off thing. I don't think I could win a Nuzlocke where I couldn't use the Pokemon Center. If I could use items and no Pokemon Center, I could do it. But with the no PokeMart, no Pokemon Center, I don't know how anybody does that. You would definitely need to be doing the perfect EV training. All your calcs would have to be perfect, and you'd still mess up. You'd be resetting that run a couple of times at least. I would argue. Like, you know, there'd just be so many ways. You'd have to save and retry and retry and retry. You'd have to soft reset a lot of encounters, I would argue. I guess it depends on your other rules, but either way, we jumped into Nidoboy here, as you guys can see. We ended up finally catching the Zubat. Must name him something after one of the Wayne family. Do we call him Wayne, Bruce? Oh no, we go for our original one, Alucard. Of course, we call our Zubat Alucard. Instead of Dick Grayson or Nightwing or what have you. Alright, so we're already into Bugsy's gym. So we beat the Slowpoke well, all that fun jazz. We must have done... Yeah, I didn't show... Because there's no real... There's like an executive, I guess. But this game's quite long, so I wanted to showcase only, you know, once again, the key battles, but mostly the gym battles, the rival battles, and any of the major captures and evolutions and stuff. So, starts off with a level 10 Spinarak, but our level 12 Wild Wing takes care of him in one blow. Psychic for the W. Wild Wing is looking strong. Looking good, Wild Wing. Looking good. You were our MVP. At least I would argue he's one of our MVPs for sure. last time. We got him late. He was our last addition to the team when we were humming and hawing about what type of trying to get ourselves a good water type. Starmie was on the table. Who else was on the table? Tentacruel was on the table. I think Kingler even, because I love Kingler. I never get to use a Kingler. I think Kingler was on the table. But we ended up finding a wild, like, level 39 or 40 a gold duck in Seafoam Islands. It was like, hell yeah. So, Wild Wing definitely came in clutch as a late addition. The last pick of the draft, and boom, went through and won us the season, won us the championship title. So let's go. So this gym trainer has a Caterpie. Once again, we're just going with Wild Wing. Psychic for days. Just Psychic for days. Once again, not the craziest special stat yet. So a special attack stat. So obviously not going to be one-shotting everything. That's not super effective and stuff like that. It's still good to have up against the poison types like Weedle and you know, Spinarak and stuff like that. And once again, here comes the Weedle, so we should be able to one-shot this thing. Poison Sting, a little scary because it can poison, and boom, we are poisoned. Once again, up until Gen 4, I want to say. I think Gen 3 still had it, but up until Gen 4, all those previous gens, if you walked around enough, you didn't leave with 1 HP, or survive with 1 HP, you could straight up faint. That counts as a loss. So as you guys can see, we're poisoned now. We don't want to take any risks, so Wild Wing's run now is unfortunately over in the gym. We switch over to Nidoboy, level 12, Nidoboy. So our guys are all 12, 13-ish. Probably not going to get a level up for anybody by the looks of it in this gym. Probably going to have to wait until either we train a little bit in the Slowpoke well before the rival battle, or we defeat the rival and in the Ilex Forest we'll get it. But we'll have an evolution soon for sure. Because we're only a few levels away with Nidoboy, and Calagon, trying to think who else. Pichu's done by Happiness, and Happiness is a lot harder in this game. I don't think we get... Pichu's going to be a few gyms away, which is really, really unfortunate, actually. Like, it's definitely not done in under, I don't think you can do it in under 20 levels. I don't think it's possible. From the start of the game, you could probably do it if you had the Soothe Bell or something like that. I think it's the Soothe Bell that does it. If you had something like that, you could probably make it happen, and you did the haircuts and everything, but if you're starting out in New Barktown going through, it's just the number of steps. I mean, of course, you could run around endlessly and get that, like, for every 100 steps, it's 1 point, or whatever it is. For every 200 steps, you get a few points in Happiness. Just time spent, pretty much. Okay, so we get to level 13, pulls out a level 12 Beedrill, which looks very scary. Even though it's only a Beedrill, looks very intimidating and massive compared to these tiny Pokemon we've been facing up to this point. Fury Attack, of course, hits 4 times. Our Horn Attack does about as much as he did to us, but I'm kind of scared of the damage there, and I'm thinking, who do I switch into? And I'm like, Fury Attack. Heracles, even if he's got Twin Needle, it's not going to do very much. So, Fury Attack, once again, see, doing 1 point of damage. Even if he gets off 5 times, which he only gets off 3, he's not going to do very much. We can go for Stomp, which we gained, which I believe has chance to flinch. Stomp isn't paralysis like Body Slam. Stomp is flinching. But of course, flinch only works if he goes first, so it's not really, that's not really the purpose for that. So he takes us down to 39 HP. Not bad. He did 8 damage before we managed to kill him. So we split the difference in the experience there. But still, 202 EXP for Heracles, not bad. And he got to... So we're getting a couple of guys here close to their levels. Once again, Rhyhorn's not going to evolve forever. Rhyhorn's... I mean, let's be realistic here. Gold and Silver, Gen 2, even Heart Gold, Soul Silver, because it didn't change anything. Very hard to get. Once you're up to the 30s, you really hit a wall that getting past level 40s, getting into the 40s is almost a chore to do before the Elite Four. And Rhyhorn evolves at level 42, so we probably won't see a Rhyhorn until we're ready to face the music, right? And that Scratch Attack freaking hurt. We took that Stun Spore, but that Scratch, that did quite a bit. So we switch out into, who do we go to? Apollo, Copper? We go to Apollo. Okay, so we end up going with Apollo. And then we take the scratch attack, which still does, damn, 9 damage. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but when we're working at a 34, 9 damage, that's 18. We're already below half in 2 hits. Thankfully, we managed to kill the Paris level 13. We're evenly matched here. So I haven't really over-leveled in the strictest sense. We're facing level 12s and 13s. We're level 12s and 13s. Once again, at this point, if you only had 3 or 4 viable Pokemon in Nuzlocke, you'd probably have an evolved Quilava or something like that by this point. But since we have to distribute, we definitely want to distribute amongst our 6. Our levels are definitely down further. So I think I did a little bit. I think I trained up everybody 1 level in Union Cave on purpose before we went into actual Azalea Town. And now here we're facing off against Bugsy. Time for our second gym fight and battle. Of course, he's got that very dangerous Scyther that we gotta watch out for. So when we start off, we switch off, obviously, into Ancalagon, who's level 12. So we know we have some level 13s, but we know killing a Metapod and a Kakuna in 2 hits each, they're only going to harden. It's not going to do anything with the Ember attack. We should basically grow to level 13, no problem. Might even get to 14 if Ancalagon manages to sweep Bugsy, which is entirely possible. Depends on what moves he chooses to use against like with his Scyther. If he goes for Fury Cutter, we got a shot at it. If he goes for a few quick attacks, we might have to switch out. So, anyway, 1 more hit from that will be all good. Once again, another harden. We'll definitely hit level 13 and a half probably here by killing a level 14 Metapod and Kakuna. As you saw with the Metapod experience game, we were basically this shy of a level, and boom, level 13. Yeah, we're over half, ready to go. Our special attack's 25, pretty good. We learned Smoke Screen, which may or may not come in handy. The Scyther decides to go for Fury Cutter, which is good. It's actually a good thing. It's level 16. I think we'll probably need about 3 hits. Looks more like 4. So we're going for that burn. Because Fury Cutter, now it's doing more. Uh-oh. So he doubled the damage. We need that burn. We need that burn bad. We don't get that burn. That Fury Cutter now is doing 11 by the looks of that. 11. So the next hit would be a kill, but we chanced it. We did chance it, but I thought I could make it. I made it. Gained 2 levels from that Scyther. Goddamn, well worth it. A chancey. That was a little chancy. That must have been either a low roll for one of those, or that was the high roll. Either way, 3-hit Ember. We managed to do it. Get to level 15. From 12 to 15, 3 levels gained on Bugsy. That's fantastic. 1 more level. And of course, we gained a bunch of experience. So 1 more level. We'll have ourselves a Charmeleon. Let's friggin' go. So definitely, that's twice I've taken some critical hit range risk sort of idea with our guys. So now we're up against our rival for the second battle right before we leave Azalea Town. Now, obviously, I must not have chosen to level up. I definitely would have showed you guys that, unless I missed it in the editing. Last time in the Red Run, I missed a couple. I think I missed 2 captures and 1 evolution. Just going through all the footage, sometimes I miss things. You know, I'm tired and stuff like that. When I do it, sometimes it's late at night, that kind of deal. So, yeah, so right out of the gate, we're using Wild Wing, of course, level 13. Psychic gonna blast away this Ghastly in 1 hit. No worries there. Super effective, of course. He's gonna pull out the Zubat next. Yep, and he does. Instead of going for his Quilava, he goes for that. Now, the Bite does decent damage, doing 6, but this is gonna be super effective because he's Poison Flying. And not quite enough to kill him, unlike the Ghastly, though. He's got a little more special defense. So the Bite actually, you know, we take about 12 damage, or actually, yeah, 12? Yeah, 12 damage in Bite attacks. Almost to level 14, though. Sends out Quilava. I think we go for 1 Psychic because, once again, his Flame Wheel, his Ember, anything he's got. Ooh, but a critical hit Tackle. We were not expecting that. He's level 16. That Psychic barely did anything. Of course, we don't actually have a Water-type move on our Water-type yet. Very unfortunate. So I decided to switch out into Heracles because once again, nothing he really does is going to do much damage. If he does get a burn off, that's going to be a problem. But he goes for a tackle, then a Leer, which wasn't a bad idea. We go for the Mud Slap to lower some accuracy. Plus, it is super effective, and that was a critical hit. Even though it's a weak move, it's still a ground type move. Stab, everything like that. It's going to do, as you can see, double critical hits. They did matter for the longevity of it all, for the easy win. Wild Wing and Heracles both gain a level, both to level 14, which is really good. As you can tell, Heracles doesn't reach 20 in any of his major stats, other than, of course, his attack and defense, and his HP are all looking pretty good. But special attack, special defense, and speed, all under 20, not very good. Either way, we defeat our rivals. So now we have 2 gym badges, 2 rival battles under our belt. That's the word I'm looking for, right? Yeah, belt. So our catch for Ilex Force is a Paris, a level 5 Paris. So we're going to go for it here. I believe we go for a Scratch, thinking it's not going to do very much. And it does about half. That's what we sort of wanted, we were going for. We got him into the yellow. Now we just need to catch him in our Pokeball. So, there we go. We cut ourselves a Paris. And these, of course, the mushroom-type Pokemon. What do we nickname him, though? What do we nickname him? I completely forget. We call him Shortcut. Oh, I get it. Shortcut. Oh, and once again, I told you guys, like, in ELX Force, we only needed 1 more level. And Calagon going to Digivolve to Charmeleon. There we go. Yeah, so we got ourselves a Charmeleon. Excellent, excellent. Alright, so let's get into the next part of it. We encounter a Drowsy outside of Goldenrod, a level 10 Drowsy. There's our Wild Wing. Up to the task with a Scratch, of course, because Psychic's not going to do very much. That Scratch, you know, this is actually a good thing in regard, not that Scratch was disabled, that's not a good thing, but that we were up against a Psychic type, you know, with our Psychic moves. Psychic actually does a little bit less than Scratch, which I didn't really expect, but I'm like, okay, alright. Because once again, we want to catch the Drowsy, we don't want to kill the Drowsy, so this is a good position we can be in. We got him down to deep yellow there, so I think this is where we're going to just go straight for a Pokeball. Drowsies are a little more hard. I always find when they're heavier, they're harder to catch. Anybody notice that? If they're bigger sprites, if they're, you know what I mean? Like, if this was a level 10 Rattata or a Growlithe or a Nidoran or something like that, better chance to catch than something like, let's say, once again, a Drowsy. Something that weighs more, you know? If they're bigger, the bigger they are, not the harder they fall, the harder they are to damn catch. And so we keep throwing Pokeballs at this damn thing, because I wouldn't mind having a Hypno as a good Psychic backup, you know? I've never really used, I think I used a Hypno once. Like, I've used pretty much everything on the Kanto and Johto list at one point or another, I'm pretty sure. But, you know, actually from start to finish, it's been a long time for a lot of them. Now, what do I call this one? Oh, Bagool. I call this guy Bagool from Sinister or whatever. So we defeated one of the camper girls or whatever, and this is where Nidoboy evolves into a Nidorino, our shiny Nidorino. So now we have, and Calagon and Nidoboy are both on stage 2, their evolutions. And this is where we encounter our next one, past Goldenrod City. It's a Beedrill. It is a Beedrill. Now, so, are we in the bug catching contest right now? We may be. I didn't hear the music, but you know, you never know. I'm not 100%. Once again, I usually, guys, when I play the game, like I played this game probably 4 months ago or better. Yeah, Park Ball, so yeah. So it's definitely the bug catching contest, and damn. A level 13 Beedrill can win it, but maybe not at that HP. I think we were just hoping for the Sunstone or what have you, but still, it's a good catch to get, you know. I'm pretty sure I only allow, though, however, the bug catching contest is either considered the same route, so you either do the bug catching contest for that route or you don't. We do end up catching the Beedrill, though. So yeah, we got him going. What was I talking about before? Who knows? Oh yeah. So I do this 4 months of, you know, like 4 or 5 months ago is when I played, and then and we're gonna see who wins here. I don't think I won the bug catching with the Beedrill. I needed like a Scyther or a Pinsir. At full health, by the way. Cameron Berry, cut a Kakuna. Me got a Beedrill. It's always that way, unless you catch them at full health, and then winner is caught a Scyther. Yeah, Scyther or Pinsir, full health, level 14. That's how you win it. So we got an Everstone and stuff, what have you. So yeah, so usually I play the game. I just play straight through, so I'm in that right zone in the Nuzlocke mindset. Then I go through the process of editing. Now the editing process, as you guys can tell, this is going to be a 50-minute, an hour-long video, and it's certainly nowhere near the end. I have to crop through all the footage, and a lot of the time I don't like to. Oh yeah, we call him Waspinator. So the editing process takes a long ass time, and by the time I edit a whole playthrough, a whole run through, and try not to miss anything, it takes a very long time to crop through all the footage. Realistically, I should be time stamping when I do it, but that would take the gameplay aspect a lot longer, so it just depends. We encounter a Hoot Hoot here, so let's see if we can get. And I like this Hoot Hoot sprite. Gold's Hoot Hoot sprite is the better of the two when it comes to gold and silver sprite changes. I think this Hoot Hoot looks better. Silver had a couple of better ones, but most of the time Gold had the better sprite, I find. But anyways, so yeah, once I play the game and you know, go through the editing process stuff, usually it takes me a long time to get to this stage. It's almost like a three-stage. It is a three-stage process. One is to play the actual Nuzlocke. One is then to edit all the footage of the Nuzlocke. Then the third step is to then go over the highlight reel with you guys recording right now and talk about what's going on, right? And I mean, I've got other stuff to do and stuff like that, so there's a lot of, and I don't want to get burnt out. So usually after I've played the game, I take a break from Pokemon for a couple of weeks. Then I do the editing. It's usually a few more weeks or a month because the editing's actually longer than the gameplay. Call him Hedwig, not a bad name. And we're entering Goldenrod Gym, the destroyer of Nuzlockes right here. The absolute devastator of Nuzlockes we're about to go up against. So yeah, that's why these parts take so long to get out and stuff like that. It just is what it is. I don't know why I went this way knowing I'd be blocked off. I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, it just, you never really want to get fully burnt out playing Pokemon, because this is a long-term challenge. As I said, a GenLocke, you have to play multiple games, Nuzlocke, and if it was as simple as just playing the game and streaming it and stuff, that'd be great. That'd be fine. But I don't have as many opportunities to stream anymore for long hours, and I don't want it to be broken up into 45 parts just to get through 2 games, you know what I mean? So streaming's not as much of an option anymore. So what I like to do is, you know, because a lot of these are cut footage, are about 29, 30 different videos, because sometimes I have 40 minutes to play and I play for 40 minutes, you know, and then I don't play for another 3 days, and then I get an extra, oh, I got a free hour here I wasn't aware of, you know. So it's just not possible to set up a stream for that every time, you know. And when I finally get back into being able to do regular streams now and again, other than Valkyrie, I'd like to cover other content, you know, tier lists and stuff like that. Really get the chat involved and things like that. And I've done plenty of Pokemon streams already, so it's not like it's, oh, we've never seen you stream Pokemon, you definitely should stream Pokemon. It's like, I've done that 4 or 5 times by now. I think we're all good, you know? So this format definitely works for me. For right now. It just takes longer to get things out, but that way nothing takes a back seat either, you know. It's not, I try to release, like the red run, I released all within 2.5 weeks, I think. I released part 1, and then I waited like 9 days, so I released part 2, then I waited like 10 more days and released part 3 or whatever, so, you know, I spaced that out, but they were all completed before I released the first one. The same is going to probably be true of this. I probably won't release this part 1 version until I've got at least part 2 recorded and rendered, maybe even as far as part 3, right? So, and that's another thing. I have to carve out time to do this. I have to carve out an hour to do the highlight reel and stuff, where I'm not reviewing manga or doing other videos or doing anything else, really, you know. Winter, I have a lot more opportunities, I find. Fall, not so much fall, but winter. Winter, I get a lot more opportunities to stream, that's for sure. Because it's just not as much to do. You know, all you gotta do is shovel the driveways. You know, you can't really do, there's no outside chores to do. Nothing can really be accomplished in the winter. So much can be accomplished in the spring and summer, so that's just why you want to utilize all your outdoor time. And let's go. And some days, I'll just be honest with you guys, some days I just really, really want to sit on my porch, drink beer, and enjoy the sunlight. You know what I mean? So, or just sit out and barbecue and, you know, enjoy the outdoors and, you know, that kind of stuff. So this trainer has some, there's not really anything to talk about. The reason I'm just bullshitting you guys for the last little bit here is there's nothing really to discuss as far as these trainers go. I like to show you guys the full extent of the gym, because I've always done that. I mean, maybe it's a little boring at times, but yeah. Because realistically, once again, I'm not allowed to leave the gym. So I show the full run that I have not left the gym. It's part of one of my rule sets. It's the gym leader clause or the gym clause. Once you enter a gym, you cannot leave until you complete it. It just adds a level of difficulty because, of course, my items are very sparse and, you know, far in between. And if I can't run back to the Pokemon Center, a bad critical hit from a trainer can really screw me up for the gym leader, right? Just adds that level of difficulty, so. And this is the final gym trainer in the Goldenrod gym before we face off against the destroyer of Nuzlockes, Whitney herself, and that goddamn Milton. Alright, so here we go. So, Psychic Blast, there goes the Jigglypuff. But we're at a good level now. Our dudes are closer to 20 than 10. Which is great, you know. It looks like we're a little overpowered for this gym, but once again, Whitney's Miltank is... I don't give a crap about level... I've never played level caps anyways. I find it very difficult to do. You know. I mean, I could probably play level caps, but I've never really truly played level caps before. So we're going to hit level 20 with this final Jigglypuff, it looks like, or at least we'll be really close to it. I'm not sure if we end, looking at the timestamp here, I'm not sure if we end this part on the end of Whitney's gym or not. If this is the, cause we've got another like 7 or 8 minutes left of footage. Yeah, that might be the whole gym battle. It might be the gym battle, decision making, and then we walk out of the gym. That might be the end. This first part, once again, an hour-long video. I had to cut all this footage, and we only get to the 3rd gym. See what I'm saying? And we did get to level 20 with Wild Wing. We like our dude Wild Wing. Forget what level he evolves at. I think it's something like 28 or 32 or something like that. Anyway, it's not for a while. And force a habit, of course, have to save every time. I always save, even in a Nuzlocke where it's like it doesn't matter. I don't do the soft reset thing. I do that for testing purposes. So everybody's level 20 and we have one level 21. I do that for testing purposes sometimes, like when I'm testing out a strategy and stuff like that. But when I'm doing an actual Nuzlocke, I'm like, nope. I save anyways, but there's just I force a habit, I guess. But here we go up against Whitney. And here's the Clefairy to start, level 18. So once again, we're not over level. Level 18, we're level 20. And we have our Apollo to showcase his stuff A Karate Chop, no critical hit required. Clefairy goes down in one attack. Perfect. Here comes the Destroyer of Worlds, the Nightmare of Nuzlocke, the level 20 Miltank, and we actually are at the level cap other than Ancalagon. So starts out with a rollout that of course starts with a critical hit. So we go for the low kick, thinking that that's the best choice. Now I think... Alright, so then another rollout, which thankfully was not a critical hit. Then we go for the Karate Chop, and it's not a critical hit. Really unfortunate that, because it goes for another rollout. We get one more shot at it. Karate Chop, is it enough? It is, but oh baby. Like, that went after two chancy, like, Faulkner, worst gym that we ever did, right? We screwed up with Faulkner. That was an awful showing, right? Then, oh yeah, we have to get the badge. Then, with Bugsy, we took a bit of a risk. We took a bit of a risk with Bugsy, with Ancalagon there. You know, if the Ember had missed for whatever purpose, because I think back in the GC era, in the Game Boy era, everything with 100 accuracy still had a chance to miss, even though it was 100 accuracy. They changed that, I think, by Gen 3 or 4, not sure, but definitely in the Game Boy eras, everything could miss. Surf could miss, everything could miss. So... Oh, I guess we're going to fight our rival? Or, yeah. I guess we're going to fight our rival in Ecruteak City. We must not have caught anything on the way to Ecruteak City, I guess. Or I missed the capture. So I guess we're not ending at Whitney. But yeah, so after a risky showing and a terrible showing, ironically, the one that usually destroys most teams. Granted, we did have a matching level Apollo who had Karate Chop and Low Kick. You know, there was a good opportunity. So yeah, Whitney actually, funnily enough, was the easiest gym leader we faced. Okay, so Haunter to start. We do get cursed in the end, but no damage to Ancalagon at that stage. And Haunter goes down. Still level 21 from Goldenrod, now level 22. Excellent. Okay, and boom, Cypher sent out his Zubat. Now, I think we're worried about the curse at this point. We have a couple more level 21, so nobody grew that much. We basically went as far as we could, I'm assuming, to the Sudowoodo tree until, and we clearly didn't catch the Sudowoodo by the looks of this. So we take the bite, doesn't do much, and we go for the super effective psychic attack with Wild Wing for the switch in. And just shy of killing, and of course we get confused. But yeah, so that was, once again, because they started with rollout, there was no opportunity for Milk Drink, there was no opportunity for, I think, Stomp or Charm, I think he's got. Yeah, so any of the problems with the Miltank were sort of overridden by the fact that the rollout wasn't doing, even with the critical hit, didn't do nearly enough damage in time versus my low kicks and my Karate Chops. In fact, had I started with Karate Chop, might have gotten a critical and killed the Miltank in 2 hits. Entirely possible. So we had to switch out to Nidoboy. But now we have double kick on Nidoboy, so super effective against Magnemite, who is now the Steel typing. So excellent for up against Jasmine, if nothing else, that we're going to have at least double kick, and of course Apollo. Having those two is really going to help. Quilava comes out next, and I think we just keep going for it. We'll take an Ember hit. It's going to do a little bit more than I thought, but I can definitely survive another one. But we switch out just in case, I think. I think I'm worried about if he uses like Flame Wheel or something and gets a crit, it might be able to do 38. I don't know, I didn't calc it, but I'm not sure when he gets Flame Wheel, but I'm pretty sure by level 22 Quilava gets a better fire move. And of course Heracles gets the burn. We're going to go for it. We taught Heracles Dig, because of course we needed a ground type move, we needed that stab better than Mud Slap and stuff. We take damage to the burn, that really sucks. Even 100 super effective with a burn, I don't know. Yeah, no, nowhere near. So this is really unfortunate, so we have to switch out again, I believe, and we switch back into Wild. Oh, because we're going to use the water typing to our advantage. He's going to Ember, of course. We're not going to take much damage, and a Psychic probably do quite a bit of damage. Ooh, that actually hurt. Oh, we learned. Oh, right, we went to the sister house, the Eevee sister's house, the Geisha girls, or the Kimono girls. The Kimono girls, and we got Surf. Totally forgot about that. We ended up getting Surf. So, of course, we finally got a water move at level 20 on Wild Wing. This is excellent, and it's the best, in my opinion. For many years, it was the best water move in the game, and I still hold that it basically stands the test of time as basically the standard. So that's that, ladies and gentlemen. Sort of got cut off there, but that's that. That's the end of the run. So far, anyways, that's part 1 of our gold leg of our GenLocke. We haven't lost anybody yet. Ironically, the Miltank, the dreaded Miltank that everybody gets scared of. This time in the GenLocke, that was probably my easiest run. That's certainly my easiest Nuzlocke run I've ever done of Whitney. Killing the Clefairy in 1 hit, and then three shots you're out Miltank with no tomfoolery, no switcheroos, no nothing. Damn. I don't think I've ever... I'm sure I've beaten Miltank easier than that in a normal play back in the day, but as far as a Nuzlocke, that's got to be my easiest time I've ever had. But look at it. We got our rival battle done. We got 3 gym badges. We're well on our way to starting off the next part with our 4th one. I'm sure we're going to go face Morty. But we haven't lost anybody from the original Hall of Fame team here yet. That's excellent. We've got Surf on Wild Wing and Psychic. Obviously, Wild Wing, our original MVP from last time, is definitely strutting his stuff this time with Psychic and Surf. I mean, realistically, if I got nothing else, he'd still be a powerhouse. And some of our dudes are set to evolve and stuff like that. Unfortunately, Rhyhorn just isn't able to pull his weight. That's partially my own fault. Not that Rhyhorn is necessarily the best to start off with and stuff like that, as much as I love Rhyhorn and Rhydon. I screwed up with that crunch move, so it is what it is. You know, had I chosen Rock Slide or Magnitude, probably would have seen a lot more versatility and viability here in this play. But yeah, so that's it for part 1, though. Once again, we're going to be starting off strong with part 2. We've been having some struggles, but we've been coasting pretty good with our Hall of Fame team still intact up to this point. But once again, things only get harder from here, and all it will take is a stray critical hit to really wreck my day. So anyways, that's it for me so far, guys. That was part 1. Don't forget to, or I guess that's part 4 now. Anyways, I don't know how I'm doing that. I'm splitting it up as like, okay, this leg, we're restarting the parts. This is part 1 of the 2nd leg. I don't know. I'll probably number it properly in the thumbs and the videos. But anyways, you guys know what I mean. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, and subscribe. All that fun jazz. And we'll see you guys back here next time for part 2. As I said before, it'll probably be out, you know, a week from the time this one comes out. So, anyways, stay tuned for that. And we'll see you guys back here next time. Sayonara, everybody.